Okay, welcome back to the Midday Q&A. I am your host, the Duckman. Back today trying to answer some of the questions that I've been asked. And one of the first questions that I've been asked over the last several days, and one of the ones I've been asked most frequently, was, hey Duckman, where the hell have you been? So we're going to answer that and a few other questions pertaining to Eleanor and pertaining to, well, Skeeter the Duck also in this video in just a couple minutes, right after we roll that intro. So thanks for watching. Really thank you guys. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Block the dingle belly down there next to the subscribe button. And don't forget to check out Duckman Cycles VW Garage. Jump on the Facebook group page. And if you'd like to email me, you can even email me your Q&A questions, which I'll try to answer in a video. Hit me up at duckmancycles@duckshit.net. Thanks so much for watching. We'll be back right after the intro. Boom. We're back, and thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for sticking with me. Taking a little ride here in the Fastback. This is my 1968 Fastback named Ruby. I didn't give her the name, the previous owner did, but it's stuck. And I don't see any reason to rename her, so she doesn't get confused when I call out to her. But anyway, starting our little adventure today, I figured I'd take a little drive around town. I took this car apart this morning and went through the linkages that I had just installed a couple months ago. And while the linkages are good, there's just a couple ways that I did things that I just think I could have done it better. So I made some adjustments and moved the bars around and resynchronized everything. And right now, just driving it, it seems actually better than it was. The throttle response is a little faster than it had been. It's a micro improvement, but it's still an improvement. So it was certainly worth putting the extra 20 minutes into and taking it apart, you know, making the adjustments on it. All right, well, Skeeter the Duck is still with us. She's right here with me taking a ride. Check her out, my little girl. I know, Skeeter, I'm sorry. I don't usually handle you like this. This is all backwards. Skeeter's still with us, and Skeeter is still healthy. The reason why that video went up that said that I lost one of my little ducks is unknown. That video is actually 10 years old from when I first got my YouTube partnership. And yes, YouTube partnership actually still is a thing. They may call it something a little different now, but it's still a YouTube partnership where they pay you for your videos by putting some ads on them. And that's one of the reasons why I'm still here today. YouTube is fun, but it's always nice to get that little extra check. And in times where my business was not doing very well, that YouTube money made all the difference in the world. And it hasn't been a lot of money, but you know, when you can get the power bill paid and you can put food on the table, that's a huge difference to most people. Most people in America, I don't care who you are, you give them that couple extra $100 a month, that makes a difference in their lives. Right, Skeeter? That's right, you always had food. Even if Daddy was hungry, you still got fed. Parenting 101. Anyway, yeah, I don't know what happened with that video. It's 10 years old, and just all of a sudden one day it went up like it was a brand new video, but it had been public for 10 years. I still have no idea what the hell happened. The only thing that I did that was different is I was posting comments or replies to comments on some of the comments that were on older videos. Some of them were from around actually that same week when that one went up, and I don't have any idea why that one got re-released public. I still don't understand it. What the hell? Where's first gear? There it is. So anyway, that's just completely unknown to me, but it was a really hard week, you know, losing one of the ducks and then just having other stress from other things happening in my life too. I had a YouTube stalker. Yes, a real life stalker problem. I mean, real life stalker. One of the reasons why I disappeared from YouTube for a while. Anyway, she's gone. She's out of my life and has been for 10 plus years. Scary as it was. I'm not going to drag you guys through that. I mean, as interesting as it might be from your point of view, I don't want to relive it. I don't need to relive that. But anyway, where has the Duckman been for the last few days? I had a couple of really big projects starting on, I believe it was Tuesday, which put me out of town. And I mean, I was way out of town. I was 200 miles out of town. You figure 3 hours driving each way for then a project that took me almost 6 to 8 hours to complete. And by the time I got home, it was only a little bit before midnight, and then they dispatched me another repair job, and my answer was, no. Boop, put the phone down, and I went to sleep. There was another guy that was covering the area, and he took care of it. Funny thing was, he didn't take care of it until the next day, past the SLA, or the due date, whatever the timestamp is on that ticket that they want it done by. He was a little later than that, but, you know, sometimes that just has to happen. Anyway, the following day, I went about 60 or 70 miles in the opposite direction to do very similar installation for another restaurant where I had to replace a bunch of computers. And when I got there, from what I was expecting to do, which was different than the standard, when I arrived on site, it turned out that all the wrong equipment was on site. The restaurant company thought that we were doing something completely different than the equipment that was even there, or what we were. I mean, everything was messed up. Nobody knew what was going on except for me, the installer. So I kept trying to tell everybody, you know, this is the equipment that's supposed to be here, and this is how we're going to do this one. And I kept getting callbacks from the dispatch company, and from the restaurant company, and from this different technician, and from this person. I said, here's what we have on site. Here's what's supposed to go in. Here's how it's supposed to work. And all of a sudden, this restaurant technician gets on the phone with me and tells me, this is how we're going to do it. Like, that was exactly what I was telling you when I first called you this morning. So thanks. Anyway, we jumped through the hoops and I made it work. It was supposed to have been an easy job, easier than the previous one because there was some different equipment at this location. But when I installed the credit card terminals for this thing, apparently that wasn't enough. They wanted more registers installed and all this other nonsense. And what should have been a couple hours turned into an entire friggin' day. So Wednesday I was down. I thought about recording a Q&A late that night and getting it up hopefully for the next day. But again, I got home. I tried to eat dinner. I stopped by... you probably heard of it. There's even a TV show for it. The Wahlburgers restaurant. There's actually one in Foley. They're in a lot of major cities across America, like New York, Philadelphia, Boston, Las Vegas, and Foley, Alabama. What the hell is one doing in Foley, Alabama? I still don't understand that one. All these big cities in Foley, Alabama. Anyway, I got to the restaurant, and it had been raining really hard that afternoon. When I got to the restaurant, they're putting the chairs up on the tables, and it was early. And they said they had no business in a few hours, just none. So they were actually going to close the doors. And I was like, damn it. It's like, well, can you still get room for one? So they shouted back to the kitchen, can we still get one guy in here for a meal? And the kitchen said, no, we already shut everything down in here. It's already cleaned up. It's you know, sorry, too late. The guy said to me, he says, well, let me give you a $5 coupon or something. I said, well, that would be cool. Thank you. You know, I really appreciate that. I mean, I'm not asking for it. I really just wanted to eat dinner. I was going to pay. But, I mean, if you're going to throw a coupon, I mean, what the hell? I'll take it. So, anyway, I thanked them tremendously. And when the girl that was creating the gift card for the $5 coupon brought it back to me, she says, I gave you $20. She says, the next time you come in here, you have a free meal and a free beer. And, you know, whatever adds up to $20, she says, it's yours. You can have it. And I said, well, that's excessive. A $5 coupon I thought was wonderful. You didn't have to give me a free meal. She goes, just a huge thank you for coming in here, so late. She says, we had nobody and you're the only person. So, well, come in here once in a while. The food's pretty good. I mean, it's a little overpriced, but I mean, you pay for the name. But it's okay. But I got a $20 coupon out of it, bonus. So, yeah, I'll be going back there again in the very, very near future. I always get good service when I go in there, and I've always been quite happy with the food. So, I don't mind paying a little more. And it's in a kind of a vacation spot. There's a little theme park that's right there, too. Which I don't know why anybody would put in a roller coaster theme park in Foley, Alabama. But once again, it's just north of Orange Beach, and Orange Beach does get a lot of spring breakers. And we'll probably see that again this year, coming up very soon. Panama City, I don't know so much about what's going to go on over there. Panama City itself, in a lot of areas, didn't do too bad. A lot of it's, put back together. But for the majority of the surrounding areas, especially off to the east, just obliterated. So spring breakers probably won't be spending too much time in Panama City. But the restaurants that are over that way, they're all back online. Everything that I've repaired, I managed to get them all back together, so that's been a good thing. What are you doing, Skeeter? You jumping around? She's doing circles in her box. Basking in the sun. Yeah, you haven't seen the sun in a while. It's been so damn rainy the last few days. And that's another thing. It's been so damn rainy that I haven't been able to get outside anyway. So Wednesday night, guess what happened? Rained. Thursday morning was my day off, and I decided, well, I'm going to go outside and I'm going to, try to work on Eleanor a little bit, get the video camera set up, and, well, it was raining first thing in the morning, so I said, hell with that. I had a side project to work on a computer for another customer. So I went ahead and fixed his computer and got that straightened out. And by the time I got it back to him, because it was massively infected, and it took me all day to go through everything on that machine. I didn't get it back to him until like 3:30 in the afternoon. So even though the sun came out, it was kind of cold, and I just didn't feel like running my camera. So after I got his computer back to him, I went home and I actually just chilled out. I went online, I tried to answer YouTube comments. As you notice, I do answer everybody's comments, unless they're really defaming or just rude. Just people that are just acting like asses. Instead of hitting reply, I hit delete. So those are the only ones I don't respond to. But for the most part, I answer everybody's comments. So that was what I spent my afternoon on, was answering people's YouTube's comments, because there was hundreds of them that I hadn't on yet. And actually, even today, there's hundreds more that I have to hit. Well, that was Thursday. Thursday, my day off. I ended up working through it, and I didn't get a chance to record any videos. Friday came around, and I was anticipating a job that was some distance away, so I ended up sleeping in until they called me for the job. I knew it was going to come in. I didn't know exactly at what time. It could have been as early as 8 a.m. It could have been as late as 2 p.m., but I figured I'll just get up when I get up. Well, at about 9:30, they sent it to me, so I got out of bed a little late. It was kind of nice to get to sleep in, but the night before, I was actually at David. Ranchero 302 Me. Ranchero 302 Me. He's got a YouTube channel. You should be subscribing to him if you like my stuff, because I'm over in his stuff once in a while too. But he had a little shindig, a little get together. I drank probably way too many girly beers. They were like Mountain Dews, malt liquor Mountain Dew, and they're really good. I forget what they're called, but they're really good. I had some of those, some root beers, and then I actually a couple real beers. So all my drink tokens are used up for the next week. So I'm not drinking at all anymore, you guys, for a while. I try not to overdo it, and that's how I limit myself. I give myself tokens, I try to keep a count. What is this idiot doing? Get away, dumbass. Drive into the parking lot extra slow, block everybody. Friggin' moron. Skeeter's just having a little fit over here, aren't you? You're happy to be out in the sun. Yeah, you don't get the sunlight a whole lot anymore, because Daddy works all the time. Yeah, I'll try to put you outside later today. How's that sound? You're biting me. Oh, those are Christmas bites. You love your daddy. I gotta get a third camera in the car here so I can point it at her when she rides with me, so you guys can see her too. Right, Skeeter? Oh, shit! I didn't realize it, but she got shit all over me. Wow, okay, Daddy's gotta take his sweater off. Thanks for shitting on Daddy. When I held her backwards, she must have let one go. God damn. Well, anyway, this is the first YouTube video that I'm shooting covered in shit. How about that? So anyways, Friday came about. I ended up handling that job. It was a little far from home. By the time I got something to eat, got out of the way, and made it all the way back for a stupid cash drawer cable, just a wire that pops the cash drawer whenever they ring up a sale needing to be replaced. A new one got shipped to the location, so I literally went plug, test it. Does it work? Yeah, okay, out the door. Yeah, I was only there on site, I think, for about 15 minutes, and that's only because I had to make a whole bunch of phone calls to close out the paperwork. But once that was handled, I was on my way. Back out the door I went, drove home, tried to have something to eat, and didn't feel like doing anything else. So it came down to it was like another day off. It wasn't a real day off, but I just took the evening off. I couldn't find the camcorder. Once again, I was going to actually record the Q&A. I looked in the living room on the coffee table where I leave it. I looked on the kitchen counter, and I looked on my desk, my computer desk. It was in none of those three locations, and that's where I usually leave it, so I pretty much went like this. Oh well. Couldn't find the camera. I just wasn't going to deal with it. So I continued my day answering some of the YouTube videos, and then right about 6 p.m., I didn't even make dinner that night. Right about 6 p.m., I just sat on the sofa with Skeeter, and I just put on a TV, and I watched a couple episodes of Top Gear, and, it's not Top Gear anymore. It's the Grand Tour. But as far as I'm concerned, it's still Top Gear. That shit that came about on the BBC without the former three hosts is not the Top Gear. So, as far as I'm concerned, this is Top Gear. And if I ever mention Top Gear, I'm actually talking about the original three hosts and not the abomination that BBC or even the Top Gear America got later. So, just no. Just absolutely no. Okay, so we spent the evening just kind of watching some TV, and I mean, I haven't cheesed out watching TV in, oh geez, probably a couple of years. I mean, I might put a movie on if I have a guest over. We might even watch 2 movies if we have a guest over, but sometimes it's just the movie is on and we're communicating, you know, trying to get to know each other kind of thing. But, that was the end of my day. It was very quiet, and I enjoyed it. Answered a little bit of YouTube comments on the sofa from my tablet, and I went to bed. Woke up this morning whenever I was going to wake up. It was about 8:30. Got out of bed, fed Skeeter. God, she's just going nuts out here in the sun. She's just loving it. Yeah, I know, you need more sunlight. I'm so sorry, Skeeter. Daddy gets so busy you get stuck in the house. The seasons are going to change soon. That means you can play outside all the time. It's too cold lately. Being as old as she is, she'll be 17 in March, on March 17th. She's the St. Patrick's Day baby. And she'll be having her birthday. 17 years old. I still can't believe she's been with me that long. And Boomer, not this weekend, but the following weekend on Sunday, which is February 3rd, he'll be having his 3rd birthday. So Skeeter will be 17 on the 17th, and Boomer will be 3 on the 3rd. So how about that? That's not ever going to happen again. So, a couple questions that I got asked in pertaining to some of my projects. I got actually a lot of Doodlebug questions recently. And some of the questions that I have been asked was, what engine is going in a Doodlebug? Or Doodlebat, well, it was a Doodlebug. It's now the Doodlebastard. But what engine goes in there? And the answer is, it's actually a Lafon LF200 dirt bike engine. And, well, actually, I think it was a semi-sport bike engine, but they did put it in dirt bikes also. It's a 163 FML engine, 163 FML. And that engine is very common. It's been used in a lot of different Chinese motorcycles and things, and they come in a few different variations. They make a 100cc, a 125, a 150, and a 200, and I think there might even be a 250. But they're all built on the same platform. Now, mine is a 200. And it originally came out of those little mini choppers that I had. And my original mini chopper video, one of them has 1 million views on it. Well, close to it anyway. Not quite 1 million, but it's real close to 1 million views. And it's still actively receiving a lot of views. I should really put more advertisements on it. That could probably make, a couple more pennies a month. But it's right at about 1 million views. But I sold that bike. I sold that bike a number of years ago, and the reason why I sold them is because my ex at the time wanted a Karmann Ghia, and I hadn't had a Volkswagen in several years, so I figured, that'd be a great thing. I still have a ton of parts. Let's go ahead and get the Karmann Ghia. So this is where I re-entered into the Volkswagen world after having been away for a number of years. I think I was without a Volkswagen from about 2004 until I guess around 8, 9, somewhere in there. It was about 4 or 5 years, so that explains it for a while. So I got her the Karmann Ghia with my... Jesus, Skeeter, you're going nuts in there. So I got her the Karmann Ghia with my motorcycle money. She still acted like it was her car, that she invested everything into it, and then, it's hers, it's mine, you bought it for me. Get the fuck out of here. You didn't help me with anything on it, so the car sat in it. It didn't rot, but it had the potential of rotting had I not taken care of it as best as I did. It was a running, driving car. When I got it, it wasn't running. So I got it for a pretty good deal, but the next morning that I was out in the driveway, I had it running in about 20 or 30 minutes, and I had it driving shortly thereafter and went around the block with it. I mean, everything on it checked out. Turn signals didn't work, headlights were all a mess, brake lights didn't work, radios worked sometimes. So anyway, it started raining the next day, and I gutted the thing, pulled the wiring out of it, got the Karmann Ghia back together. It belongs to a friend of mine right now, William. Kind of neat that William's got it. He bought the car from me. It's actually the same guy I got the 1947 Chevy from. He and I made a little deal on that and traded them out. And I only had the Chevy for about 2 or 3 days. And recently, one of my YouTubers ended up with the Chevy and didn't realize that it had been mine at some point until he was watching one of my older videos, and he goes, "Holy shit, that's my car! You used to have that!" Well, yeah, actually. So it turned out we're brothers in a way. I'm cruising through this little neighborhood here. There was a house over here about 10 years ago that I should have made a better deal on. It had a 3-car garage, and it was a little bit bigger than my house, and I think I could have got it a little bit cheaper than what I got my house for. It had a nice remote garage, and it had a garage that was attached to the house. The attached house, I would have probably put a couple of motorcycles in it and the Z, and the detached one would be where all my tools live and where my project cars would be now. Back then, I didn't have anything for projects except for the Pook moped. And I think that's all I had at the time was the Pook moped and the 350Z. I was not broke, but I had spent most of my savings on closing costs and down payments and everything to buy the house. So once that was done, then I got whacked with the first tax bill. Surprise! Didn't realize the owner hadn't paid it yet. I figured he had taken care of that just before the closing, and then I got the note in the mail, you know, the taxes haven't been paid, and I went, oh shit, okay, well, I guess that's on me. No, I was completely responsible for that one. There's the house over there, you really can't see it. It's out to my left. Whoa, that's a stop sign, supposed to stop there. Anyway, it's kind of a cool house. Looking at it now, they got all kinds of project pickup trucks around it, and it looks like it's a little worse for wear. There's a lot of rot in the wooden siding of the house. Stuff that would have had to have been taken care of. Or in my possession, I don't know, I might have had problems with that stuff rotting out too, because I have a tendency not to always take care of things. It's just too much maintenance for one person. I don't have a partner of any sort. It'd be nice if I did. But then again, all the ladies that ever been around before didn't contribute anything. Anything. I was always taking care of them. And that gets old pretty quick. So anyway, the Doodle Bastard engine comes out of the mini chopper, which I sold. The mini chopper, then by the new owner, he blew it up. He blew the electric starter out of it, and we knew it had problems anyway, because you remember I replaced my Doodle Bastard starter. He stripped out the Kickstarter in it also, so I took that apart and figured out what the hell was wrong in there. And that I'm not putting back together because I have no interest in kickstarting that bike. That thing was just always a real hump to kick over. I don't know why, it's one 200cc piston, but I think the leverage of the kicker or something, it's too hard to kick. The CR500's easier to figure that out. And the CR500 has really good compression on it by comparison, and a much bigger piston, so there's a lot more you gotta turn over, but I don't know. I don't fight with it, I don't argue with it, that's just how it is. So I get asked also repeatedly, recently, how much has the 56 Beetle named Eleanor cost me? And the truth is, it really hasn't cost me a whole lot of money at all. I mean, more recently, now I'm putting money into it. I really hadn't put a whole lot of money into it until I started doing the Porsche suspension. Porsche suspension and Porsche brakes, that stuff actually cost me money. But because it cost me real money, I should say. But because I had so much of that car left over, all the rusted, stuff that looked like it had buckshot shot through it. I mean, it was in bad shape. That, I took those old panels and old pieces from that car, and people wanted them, which was quite to my surprise. I said, well, they're really rotted out. And they said, but they're original. We want to have them. Okay. So I gave them a price. We worked out a deal, and the parts either got traded off or sold off. And I traded it off for stuff that I could put onto the car, stuff that I wanted to put onto the car. So for a long time, that kind of balanced things out. So really, I had, no money into it. I mean, double goose eggs. No money into it. And that made me very, very happy. When I started buying the Porsche suspension and stuff, the prices started going up a couple $100 at a time, And before you know it, I was probably up to around $1,000. And you say, well, $1,000 for that car, that's still really good. Well, yeah, it is. And then I started to sell some more stuff off of it, so that price kind of worked its way down. But, when it comes down to it, I think I probably have minimal money into it. We're talking probably still right around $1,000, $1,500. Cheap. It's actually been quite cheap. The stuff that I've put into it that I have bought new, I only bought when I had good deals on, like the floor pans that I put in there, and I bought them for a steal. The disc brakes, I bought new discs for them, brand new discs. Could have bought used ones, but that was just BS to me, get new ones. Those, I waited till there was a sale on them, and then I bought them cheap. And as I bought the gold ones too, I wanted just a little bit of bling on there. I wanted a little bit of kapow when I took it to the car show. I didn't have to have something that gaudy, but I wanted something that really made people oogle. And they did when it was at the car show. So, there's some new stuff that went into it. The sway bar was new, but it wasn't going to fit with the Porsche stuff. I had to make some modifications to it. You guys watch me do that. The sway bars aren't particularly cheap. They go on sale once in a while, and I got some sale prices on it. Master cylinders, new. The 350Z seats that are in there, they actually came from a trade, which is rather interesting. I traded off Eleanor's old engine for a 1500cc single-port Volkswagen engine. This was what I call my good day. The best day I ever had for trading out parts ever, just ever. Well, I traded the old Eleanor's engine, which had been sat in seawater, so the magnesium was gone. The bottom of the engine, actually, parts of it just fell off. I know, Skeeter. The rocker were rotted through, but there was a lot of good cooling components on it. There was a lot of good pieces. I mean, the heads were probably still usable. The air cleaner was there. It still had one of them 032 distributors or whatever it is, the very highly desirable distributor. I can't remember what it is. That was still there. The fuel pump fell off because the case broke, but the fuel pump was still there. So anyway, there was many, many hundreds of dollars of usable parts that were on there. So I traded it for a running 1500 single-port engine. And I didn't have any plans on keeping this 1500 engine, but I already had it sold. So I talked to somebody about that, and that same day after I made that trade, I sold the 1500 engine. What he didn't know is I already had been making a deal for somebody for a 1600 dual-port engine to go buy that. So I only asked $200 for the Eleanor's original 36 horsepower engine. I got the 1500, then I bought the 1600, and then the same day I also went and picked up some 350Z seats. So at the end of the day, I had a 1600 dual-port engine, 2 seats for the 350Z, and $200 in my pocket, which is all I really wanted to start out with. That was a really good day. Everything worked out, and I think from start to finish, all of the swapping, it was like less than 6 hours of time. So, I mean, that was a total win for me. These guys did most of the driving themselves, except for the 350Z seats. Those were actually kind of far. I had to drive out past the Funiac, which is actually about an hour and a half from here. So it was about a 3-hour trip back and forth, and that was the only real driving I had to do. Everybody else actually did all the driving for me. So I had a really, really good day on that. That's where the seats came from. That's where an engine came from, which I later passed off to somebody else. And some of the money that I recouped that went towards the balance on the Eleanor, I recovered that way, and that's why she's doesn't have that much invested into her, because it's actually been a bunch of really good, slick deals that I've made along the way. Been a lot of happy people, too, getting those original vintage parts. Whenever I list one online, whatever it is for sale, I mean, I get a ton of emails. And those fenders that were on Eleanor originally, it was just, holy crap, I think I got 50 emails from that overnight. I listed them late at night. I woke up in the morning, it was like 50 emails in there. And a lot of them were from popular YouTubers that I couldn't get to talk to me before. Popular Volkswagen YouTubers that saw my ads online and wanted to buy them. Well, I ended up making a deal and shipped them off. There's another video all about that, but that's the deal on there. But on Eleanor, and related to that, people are asking me, what kind of wheels are those? And I get asked that a lot. Those are actually Porsche 928 wheels. Late 70s 928 wheels. And how you can tell they're 928 wheels, aside from looking at the part number, which starts out with 928. It's actually the part numbers stamped on the inside of it. People tell me, no, those are 944 wheels. No, they're 928 wheels. It says so on them. You can tell by the offset. 944 wheels or 924 wheels, they look deep dish. The actual bolting flange and the entire hub of the wheel is pushed further into the wheel, whereas on a 928 they bulge out. And I like the bulge out look, and I got a good deal on those. So I went and I picked them up from Gulf Breeze, which isn't too far from here. In fact, I used Ruby for it. I put them up on top of the roof, on a roof rack, and boy did that give this car some awkward handling when you have I guess it was probably about 200 pounds of wheels just making the car sway. And every time the wind would blow, the car would just, it was like being in a small ship. This thing was just all over the place. Right, Skeeter? You're a good girl, yes you are. Still got shit on me, thanks for that. Poop. So, that's what we got. And people say, well, why did you pick snow tires for that car? Well, I didn't pick them. It actually came on those wheels. That guy used to use those wheels in the wintertime on his 911 when he lived up in Colorado. He lived out or around Denver somewhere. All modern Porsches have the same wheel pattern, a 5x130. So most wheels between Porsches are interchangeable as long as the offset doesn't really knock you out of whack. With some wheel spacers or something, you can easily make most wheels fit. And that's the reason why I have wheel spacers behind those 928 wheels, is because the hub is pushed out further into that wheel. It has a much greater offset than otherwise. So I put on longer lug studs and put some spacers on it. And I didn't mind doing that because that gives me more flexibility. So if I want to change out the rims in the future, I can use practically anything because the offset is going to be easy. I can change out spacers. I can push things every which way. I mean, there's a lot of slack that I've got under there. So, I mean, I can put on some super fat wheels even that go way back with a huge offset. And, I mean, geez, we're talking like 12, 13, 14-inch tires and wheels if I wanted to, and still get them to tuck under the fender if I get just the right offset. So I don't know if I'm going to do that in the future. We'll see how I feel. I kind of like the stock vintage bubble hubcap looks. But the problem is there's no 5x130 wheels that use the original dome-type hubcaps that would have been on Eleanor from back in the day. So I got to see if I can find something. I think Air-Cooled has something that works with 4x130s, and then maybe I can run them over to A-Bomb or something and have them drill out, you know, the extra holes in the wheel pattern that's necessary. Just drill a hole. In fact, it'll be 4 holes per wheel. So I need you to drill 16 holes for me. Anyway, we'll see. I don't know if I'm going to do that in the future. I really don't know. By the way, Eleanor is running, or not Eleanor, woo! Eleanor is running is another story, but Ruby is running fantastic today. Making these adjustments I thought was just going to be a micro improvement. It's better than that. Throttle response is actually much better than it used to be. Now that I'm really thinking about it, instead of just talking to you guys, I can actually tell that there's a tremendous improvement here. Well, this video is running a little bit long, but I really had a lot of stuff that I just wanted to talk about today. Right, Skeeter? You got poop all over me. You did. A little air in here. It's warming up today. It should be a little over 60 degrees, or right about 60 degrees, somewhere in there, Fahrenheit. I mean, that's a really nice day for winter time. And I'm wearing a sweater right now because it was actually below freezing first thing this morning. Now that it's warming up and I'm sitting here in the car in the sun, I really don't feel comfortable in this thing anymore, so it's got to be taken off, it's got to go. But one of the next things we're going to be working on shortly, coming up maybe even as fast as this weekend, is Eleanor's carburetor. You probably remember we've been dealing with a little bit of nonsense on there, and people keep telling me things that I need to do, and some of the things they've told me are right, but only in part. You know, the distributor is going to affect how, well, yeah, the distributor is going to affect how it runs. You got the wrong distributor. Well, it's not the wrong distributor. It's just not the best distributor for what should be on that car. It's more intended for an industrial type application rather than an automobile engine that constantly accelerates and decelerates versus, let's say, a generator engine or a pump that would be running at the same RPM all the time. So anyway, the 009 distributor is going bye-bye. I have a brand new 034 inside of Ruby right here underneath the back seat. I haven't yet to dig it out because I just haven't felt like it. That time off from working on Eleanor has really been a good thing for me. I really needed that. I mean, I was really churning out a lot of videos. I mean, you saw it yourself, 1 a day, 2 a day. I don't know too many other YouTube channels that turn out technical stuff that frequently, just that frequently. Some guys do it once a month. You look at popular channels like Electro Boom, and I love him and his unibrow. But he gets up videos, you know, once a month, once every 2 weeks. I mean, I wish I had his popularity, and I wish I could get away doing that few videos, but I love his stuff, I really do. Every time he blows himself up, and I can tell when he does it on purpose, because I know he knows better. But there's been a few times he did have an accident, and he couldn't help it, like when his Jacob's ladder fell on him, and he grabbed it. That was the first video of his I ever saw, and right away I subscribed. I said I gotta see more of this guy because I thought he was just a nut, and then I realized he actually really does know what he's doing. Electro Boom, if you haven't seen him, check him out. Ranchero 302 Me, my buddy that we have parties with frequently, check him out, give him a subscription. I mentioned A-Bomb 79, you gotta throw him a subscription also. That guy is rolling around 230,000 subscriptions right now at the time of recording this video. It might even be a little more than that. His fame has so seriously increased. And I remember him from before he was a YouTuber, when he was just a local friend of mine, and I was trying to tell him, I said, you know, start running the camera in your shop and start recording some YouTube videos. And even he said it himself, I thought you were crazy. No, I didn't know what the hell you were talking about. Well, anyway, he did it. I gave him some pointers. He threw them all away. He did it his way, and he ended up way more successful than I ever did. But the key was, the one thing that he did more consistently than I ever did was release videos frequently. And he's good for a couple of them a week. And that's one of the reasons why my popularity has taken off so quickly recently, is because, go ahead, go. Get out of the way, you. The reason my popularity has taken off so quickly is because I've been getting more videos out more frequently, and I've been doing that for about the last 10 months or so, and I'm going to stick with it. That floor plan replacement video that I did, which is the most popular floor plan replacement video, maybe even in the world, certainly the most on YouTube and the most on Google. If you do a search for Volkswagen floor pans, I'm number one, and I come up consistently as number one with more likes than anybody else, more views than anybody else. That video has really, really been special, and it's still getting a ton of comments on it. People are still asking a lot of questions in regards to it. So I thank all of you for watching that one. Really, really, I do. Lastly, Eleanor, once she gets her paint job, is going to be going over to Cocoa Beach on the opposite side of Florida. And that's where Earl lives, and where Earl has his shop. Classic... I screw this up every time. Classic Car Creations. I'm sorry, Earl. I got to write this thing down. Maybe even tattoo it on my forehead in a mirror image, so that way when I look in the camera here, I can actually see it and read it. It'll be a great advertisement for you. But anyway, Eleanor will be going over there, and Eleanor will be getting her paint job, and Earl will be taking care of that for me. I think that should cover that. But anyway, I'll put a link to his channel down here, and I want you guys to subscribe to it. He just rolled over 100 subscriptions this week, and I remember when I got started on my YouTube, getting that first 100 subscriptions, that was the hardest thing in the world. I mean, it took me many, many months to get over 100, and then rather quickly, between 100 and 1,000, it wasn't nearly as long. It actually... There's like an exponential number. You just keep growing exponentially, and it grows up over to 1,000. So, Earl, expect that to start happening soon. Keep on uploading those videos. That's really the key. Thanks, everybody, for watching. I really do appreciate it. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, plug that little dingle bell you see down next to the subscribe button. Don't forget to check out SkeeterTheDuck's channel. That's right. SkeeterTheDuck has her own YouTube channel. We're going to try to get a video up. This little girl is still with me. She's still healthy. She's getting a little old, but everybody still loves her. Right, Skeeter? Oh, your daddy loves you more than anybody. Yes, he does. All right, as always, don't forget to check out Duckman Cycles VW Garage up on the Facebook group page. Give us a join the group. There's always a discussion on my projects, anybody else's projects, and if you've got a YouTube channel and you do Volkswagen stuff, you probably should be there yourself, because you can share your videos there, and you can kind of piggyback on my popularity for whatever that's worth. You know, if you guys think I'm cool, great. I'm not trying to sound like, you know, I'm big or arrogant, but I'm allowing you guys to join me, part of the family. Get up there, like, and share your videos just the same. Some people thought, you know, it might be like tacky, or it might be frowned upon to share somebody else's stuff, but I'm telling you, share it. I want to see your stuff, and I want to see you succeed just the same. You guys should be doing really well on YouTube, too. If you do the same stuff that I do, there's no reason you shouldn't be the same size, maybe even bigger than what I'm doing here on my YouTube today. So thanks for watching. Really, I do appreciate you guys. Check out, well, don't check out anything. Go ahead and email me, duckmancycles@duckshit.net. As always, same email address if you got any questions at all about any of the projects, or even about Skeeter. Right, Skeeter? Good girl. You don't like the way I'm holding you, because I don't usually hold you up this high. No, I don't. So it's all awkward to you. Yeah, you're getting poop on Daddy. Hits you up. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time.